Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're your shortcut for getting past the noise, really understanding the ideas shaping our lives, both inside and out.
That's right.
Today, we're doing a deep dive into something really quite profound from Russ Littell. It's an idea I think could genuinely change how you approach difficult memories, those challenging experiences we all have. We're tackling a pretty fundamental question. What is the real difference between releasing a tough experience, Russ calls it a trauma or maybe a root cause, and just, well, reliving it, getting stuck in that loop?
It's a crucial distinction.
Exactly. And this isn't just abstract thinking. We want to pull out clear, actionable insights for you so you can navigate your own emotional world with, honestly, a bit more wisdom and maybe more ease. Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, and what's so striking about Russ Littell's approach right from the get-go in his video is how he just cuts straight through. He lands on one core concept.
Balance.
Balance, okay. Yeah, and he frames it not just as, something nice to have, but as the absolute key factor. It determines whether you actually move forward from something difficult or if you just find yourself spinning your wheels, stuck in that old pattern.
Right.
It's about a very specific internal state, a kind of mental equilibrium that really dictates the outcome. And what's fascinating here is he doesn't just leave it abstract. Our source immediately gives us this powerful analogy to help us really get this idea of balance.
Oh, the car analogy. Yes, it's incredibly vivid, isn't it? It really brings it home.
It does.
He asks us to imagine driving, but not just any drive. Picture this. Alberta, Canada. Middle of winter, like deep winter, December 21st.
Minus 30, maybe minus 40 Celsius.
Exactly. Bitter cold, maybe wind chill on top of that.
Yeah.
And the roads. Black ice, treacherous. Maybe there's even a blizzard kicking up you can barely see.
Fly out conditions.
Right. In that situation, which Russ calls being not in balance, whereas absolutely all of your attention.
Survive.
Totally. It's laser focused on one single thing.
What?
Keeping that car on the road. Preventing a spin out. Avoiding the ditch. There's no room for chatting with a passenger. No changing the radio station. No looking at the white landscape. Every single bit of you is just focused on survival. On managing the immediate danger. I really want you, listening now, to try and feel that for a second. That intense tunnel vision you get when you're facing immediate danger or just feeling completely overwhelmed and out of control.
Yeah.
Your whole system is just fighting for stability.
Precisely. And Russ Littell nails it when he says, in that not in balance state, you simply can't do anything else right now because I'm busy trying to keep my car on the highway.
Yeah.
All your resources, mental, emotional, probably physical too, they're just consumed by that immediate threat. There's zero bandwidth left.
None.
Now let's flip that. Contrast it with being in balance. Imagine you've gotten through the storm, or maybe it's just a different day. Sunny, dry highway, clear skies. What changes?
Everything changes.
Right. Now you can have that conversation. You can comfortably chat with someone next to you. You can fiddle with the radio, find a good song, maybe even sing along a bit. Your mind isn't locked in panic.
Relaxed. Yeah.
You've got that mental space back, that emotional capacity for other things.
Yeah.
Because the immediate, the life or death feeling is gone. You feel secure, stable, you feel like you're in control.
Okay.
So if we connect this to the bigger picture Russ is painting, he's essentially telling us that our internal state, our balance, is just as critical for navigating our emotions as those road conditions are for driving. It's foundational.
That makes so much sense. So, okay, hitting the ice, getting into the ditch, that's our not in balance state, emotionally speaking.
Exactly.
Which brings us to the really crucial question for all of us. How do you actually know? How do you sense when you're on that clear, dry highway inside? What tells you that you have your balance when you're dealing with a difficult memory or maybe a persistent thought or even those voices in your head Russ mentions?
Right. The inner critic or old echoes.
Yeah, those things. How do you know if you're stable enough?
Well, Russ gives a surprisingly straightforward answer. He says, you know you have your balance if you can focus on the thought or the memory or those voices without getting completely sucked in, completely hijacked by the emotions tied to it.
Ah, okay. So it's about observing, not drowning.
Precisely. Being able to acknowledge it's there rather than being instantly consumed by it. And he gives this great, really relatable example of what not in balance feels like. He says, you're going along, you're having a really good day, things are flowing really good, this thought pops out of nowhere, something like that, and it's like, gee, it triggers this emotion, and your whole day just goes for crap, right?
Oh, yeah. We've all been there. One thought, one memory flash, and boom, the good day is just gone, totally derailed.
Feels like the rug's pulled out.
Exactly. And Russ links it straight back to the car.
Mm-hmm.
This is like you're driving the car, you're doing really good. All of a sudden you hit ice and you're in the ditch. And that sudden, overwhelming loss of control.
And that is the absolute core distinction Russ wants us to get. There's a huge difference between, say, experiencing what an emotion is, observing an emotion, and having it just completely take over your present moment experience.
Taking over.
To the point where it dictates your mood, your actions, your whole day. When an emotion hits you like that, ruins your day, knocks you totally off kilter, by Russ's definition, you are definitely not in balance.
Okay, not in balance. Got it.
And this leads to a really critical implication, something I think is just so important for anyone trying to work through difficult stuff. When you're in that state, that imbalanced state, the source is explicit. That's not the time to explore the trauma, to talk about the trauma, even to work on releasing the trauma.
Right, because you're just trying to keep the car on the road.
Exactly. But isn't it incredibly tempting when you feel that turmoil inside to just jump in and try to fix it right then and there?
Oh, absolutely. That's the immediate impulse, isn't it? Feel bad, fix it now.
So what's the danger there? Why does Russ warn against that instinct? Why does he say trying to fix it then just makes it worse?
That's a fantastic question because it really cuts to our basic human wiring, right? Pain happens, we want it gone instantly. But Russ's point, and it feels so true, is that if you try to tackle a really charged memory or emotion, when you're already in that ditch state, feeling overwhelmed, hijacked, no balance, you're essentially just reliving it or giving it more power, giving it more momentum.
Reinforcing it.
Yeah. Think about the car again. If you're spinning on ice, you don't suddenly decide now's the time to check the engine or adjust the tire pressure, do you?
No, you'd make things worse.
Exactly. You're adding complexity when you need simplicity, focus, survival. So when we dive into a tough memory, while we're already emotionally compromised, we're not coming at it from strength or clarity.
We're coming at it from the original overwhelm.
Precisely. We're just re-experiencing that state. We're actually strengthening the neural pathways of the panic, the distress. We're digging that emotional ditch deeper, not climbing out. We're not solving anything. We might even be re-traumatizing ourselves a bit, or at least making that memory's grip even tighter. It's like trying to untangle a really complex knot. But you're doing it with frantic, shaking hands in the dark.
It just gets tighter. Wow, that is such a vital clarification. It really shows why that urge to fix it now is exactly the wrong move in those moments. So if that's the danger zone, avoiding that reactive fixing, the real power, the thing that gets me excited, is understanding what can happen once we get that stability back.
Right.
We've talked about the pitfalls of trying to work when you're spinning out. So what kind of positive engagement, what genuine work can we actually do when we manage to get back on that clean highway? When we found that internal stability again?
Absolutely. Because it's only then, once you've regained balance, once you're out of that immediate survival scramble, that different, truly constructive things become possible. Russ describes that imbalance experience. He says a thought, a memory, maybe even just a sensation or an emotion might still surface, and this is key. It's not about being numb or pretending it's not there.
Right, not denial.
No. But crucially, it doesn't take your day from having a pretty good day to like the world's going to end. It might show up, you might still feel it, maybe a twinge, but it hasn't overwhelmed you. It hasn't thrown your whole day into chaos or triggered that full-blown panic response.
Okay, so it registers but doesn't derail.
Exactly. This is our clean highway state from the analogy. You're stable, you're present, you can handle what comes up without losing your footing. You notice the thought, you acknowledge the feeling, but you're not hijacked.
Your hands are on the wheel.
Your hands are firmly on the wheel. You're navigating intentionally, not just reacting to ice patches. And it's in this state, Russ says, that you shift from just reliving to potentially genuinely releasing. And here's where it gets really interesting. Because now the real work can actually start.
Indeed, because when you're in that balanced place, you finally have the capacity, the mental and emotional bandwidth to actually engage with that memory or thought constructively. Insightfully. Our source explains, now you can start to use whatever techniques you want to use. Maybe you start to explore, maybe you go. So why is it that that memory has such a charge to it? Or why is it these flavors of voices in my mind keep coming up on certain occasions or with certain triggers or stuff like that?
So you can get curious about it.
Exactly. You're not just feeling the raw emotion. You're able to investigate it. You can approach it with curiosity instead of just dread because, crucially, you still got your balance. This is the path to releasing because you're engaging from a place of, let's call it, emotional strength, or sovereignty. But this brings up an important point, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If we do find ourselves triggered, if that thought or memory starts to feel like it might knock us off balance, what's the first most vital step?
Okay, good question.
Russ gives us a really powerful, practical guideline here. When those triggers flare up, the very first thing you need to ask yourself, almost like a reflex, is, am I in balance?
Check your internal road conditions first.
Perfect analogy. Check the road conditions. And if the answer is no, if that thought feels like it's going to knock me right off my feet, going to ruin my day, then Russ's instruction is crystal clear. Don't explore them anymore, then use whatever techniques you do to get you back onto the highway.
So prioritize getting stable again.
Yes. It's not about denial, it's strategic self-care.
Yeah.
And the warning here is really profound. Don't try and fix it because it's not going to fix. You're just going to give it more of your attention, and you really are going to end up reliving it.
Wow. That's such a critical instruction. Don't try to fix it then. It explains so much about why trying to wrestle with a big emotion when you're already overwhelmed just feels counterproductive, like spinning your wheels. But let's dig into that a bit more. What are some common ways people do mistakenly try to fix things when they're off balance, before they've really got their feet back under them?
Good point.
And just as importantly, if we can't fix it right then, what kinds of techniques are we talking about when Russ says, get you back onto the highway? Because that's the actionable piece for you listening, isn't it? How do you actually do that?
Those are excellent questions, host, because it's so easy to get this wrong. Often when people are off balance, they mistakenly try to fix it by, say, endlessly analyzing why the memory came up, replaying it over and over, maybe blaming themselves or someone else.
Right, getting stuck in the story.
Exactly. Or they try to just intellectualize it away, or worse, try to force themselves to feel better through sheer willpower, which honestly usually just adds frustration on top of the original feeling.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
No. Now, for those of you listening who might be familiar with things like, say, mindfulness or maybe some cognitive behavioral techniques, this idea of observing an emotion rather than being consumed by it, that'll probably resonate. What Russ gives us here is this critical framework for knowing when to best apply those kinds of tools.
Okay.
And while he doesn't list specific techniques in this clip, he heavily implies that you absolutely need your own personal toolkit for regaining balance. It's essential.
Your get back on the highway kit.
Precisely. For one person, getting back on the highway might mean literally stepping away, changing your physical surroundings for a few minutes, or doing a grounding exercise, focusing on your breath, feeling your feet on the ground, noticing 5 things you can see or hear. Simple stuff.
Right. Embodied stuff.
Yeah. For someone else, it might be a brief, mindful check-in. Just observing the emotion without judging it, letting it pass like a weather pattern, or maybe engaging in a quick, calming activity they know works for them. The power isn't in one magic technique, it's in knowing your own strategies and consciously using them to get stable first before you try any deeper processing.
Proactive internal management.
Exactly. Managing your internal road conditions before you try to navigate tricky territory.
That distinction, the difference between sort of intellectualizing when you're overwhelmed versus genuinely processing when you're stable, and the wisdom of knowing when to do which, that feels incredibly powerful.
It really is.
It means realizing that sometimes the absolute best, most effective thing you can do is step back from the problem for a moment, just to rebuild your inner resources first. So what does this all mean for you listening? It means getting clear on when it's productive to engage with a difficult memory, and crucially, when your priority absolutely has to be regaining your emotional balance, your equilibrium.
Yeah.
The core takeaway from our deep dive today, really, is this profound insight. Balance isn't just nice to have, it's the absolute prerequisite. It's non-negotiable if you want to genuinely address and release difficult experiences.
Foundational.
Totally. And that car analogy, it just nails it visually, doesn't it? You wouldn't try changing a tire, let alone rebuilding the engine while you're spinning out on ice. You'd focus on getting safe, finding stable ground first.
Makes perfect sense.
And that same principle holds true, maybe even more so, for our inner world. It means taking charge of your emotional driving before you attempt any really complex repairs.
Absolutely. And maybe think about the ripple effects of this balance first idea, not just for the big stuff, the things we might label trauma, but even for the everyday emotional triggers.
The smaller bumps in the road.
Exactly. So maybe this week, I'd encourage you listening to just observe your own reactions. When a difficult thought or feeling comes up, something that kind of threatens to throw off your day, what's your immediate gut reaction? Do you instantly try to fix it, analyze it to death, push it away, even when you feel like you're already sliding into that emotional ditch?
Yeah.
Or can you consciously prioritize getting yourself back onto that dry highway first, focusing on regaining that sense of inner control, that stability, before you decide how or if to engage further?
Okay.
What does getting back onto the highway actually look like for you? It's really about consciously building and then using those personal techniques, those practices that help you find your equilibrium again. It's not about ignoring anything. It's about creating the best possible conditions for real processing to happen later, if needed.
Right.
So maybe the challenge this week is just to notice that initial impulse. When you feel yourself losing balance, can you pause and ask, am I trying to wrestle this thing in the dark right now, or am I going to turn on the lights first so I can actually see what I'm doing?
That's fantastic food for thought. A really practical, insightful challenge for all of us this week. This deep dive, it's offered such clarity, I think, on approaching these emotional challenges with more intention, more wisdom.
I hope so.
Thank you so much for joining us on this exploration today, digging into that crucial difference between releasing and just reliving difficult experiences. Keep exploring, everyone. Keep asking questions, and above all, stay curious about your own inner landscape.